This video demonstrates how to configure portal authentication on Ruijie Cloud. Portal authentication is a network access control technique. When users attempt to connect to the network, they are redirected to a portal page for authentication. Users can access network resources only after successful authentication, ensuring network security. While portal authentication may not offer the same level of security as 802.1x, its ease of use makes it ideal for public access scenarios, such as shopping malls, airports, and other public areas. Moreover, portal authentication allows businesses and organizations to customize the authentication page, turning it into a powerful tool for marketing, promotions, and advertising. Choose Auth and Accounts Captive Portal. Click Add Captive Portal to create a policy for portal authentication. Enter the policy name and select a policy mode. Ruijie Cloud supports 3 authentication modes, which will be explained one by one. When policy mode is set to Cloud Auth, authentication will be performed using the built-in authentication server in Ruijie Cloud. Select the authentication device. When authentication device is set to Ruijie Gateway, Enterprise NBR, or Firewall, configure the network that requires authentication. You can select an existing network or manually enter an IP address or IP address range. After the setup is complete, users must be authenticated to connect to the designated network. When the authentication device is an AP, you need to select the SSID for authentication. When authentication device is set to Firewall, select the firewall for authentication and configure the zone in which the portal policy takes effect. Toggle on Seamless Online as required. When this function is enabled, you need to set the Seamless Online period. Once a user authenticates successfully for the first time, they can connect again within the designated Seamless Online period without re-authentication. Toggle on Portal Escape as required. When this function is enabled, if an exception occurs on the authentication server, the device disables authentication to allow all clients to directly access the internet. Once the authentication server recovers, authentication will be automatically re-enabled. When policy mode is set to local, authentication is performed on the local device. Portal pages and cloud accounts in Ruijie Cloud are synchronized with the device for local authentication. Set the network that requires authentication. You can select an existing network or manually enter an IP address or IP address range. After the setup is complete, users must be authenticated to connect to the designated network. When policy mode is set to external, authentication is performed on a third-party authentication server. When authentication device is set to Ruijie Gateway, set Auth protocol to Wi-Fi DOG or WSPR. When Auth protocol is set to Wi-Fi DOG, configure the authentication server URL and the network that requires authentication. Toggle on Portal Escape as required. When Auth protocol is set to WSPR, configure the network that requires authentication. Enter the URL of the third-party server. Click Edit to set required parameters. These parameters define how user authentication information is encapsulated and sent to the WSPR server for authentication. Configure them as required. Set the authentication type. Radius. Wireless clients are authenticated by the Radius server. Local account. Wireless clients are authenticated based on local username and password. None. No authentication is required for wireless clients. When auth type is set to Radius, you need to set auth server group and accounting server group. When authentication device is set to Ruijie Enterprise AP, auth protocol is set to Wi-Fi DOG. Select the SSID that requires authentication. Configure post URL and portal IP. Set other parameters as required. When authentication device is set to Ruijie AP, auth protocol is set to Wi-Fi dog. Select the SSID that requires authentication. Configure the post URL. Toggle on portal escape as required. When policy mode is set to Cloud Auth or local, you need to configure the portal page. You can select an existing portal page or click Add Page to create a portal page. For details, see the following video. How to configure a portal template using Ruijie Cloud version 1.2 inch. When login options is set to voucher or account, choose Auth and Accounts User Management to create a voucher or account for user login. For details, see the following video. How to configure user management using Ruijie Cloud, version 1.2. Click OK. When account-based authentication is configured for a specific SSID on the Ruijie AP, the portal page appears when a device connects to that SSID. Once the username and password are entered correctly, the device will be authenticated and granted access to the internet. Thank you for watching. Scan the QR code on the left to provide feedback or share your suggestions about the video. Scan the QR code on the right to access product documentation on the Ruijie official website. Your support is the driving force for our progress. See you in the next video.